Welcome. I'm Frank Klesitz. I'm joined here with Nick Crowder. Say hi, Nick.
Good to see everyone.
I'm also joined back here by my daughter, Melody, who decided to join me in my home office today. And we're going to discuss today how to go really deep on executing the golden handoff. The book you wrote, Nick, incredible. You have version one. You now have version 2.0 out,
Yep,
goldenhandoff.com.
that's it. Goldenhandoff.com, second edition on Amazon. It's the blue and white cover. That's the easiest way to tell them apart.
I'll put it here in chat. So we're going
Awesome.
to operate under the assumption, like we talked about, Nick, today, that everyone's read the book
Yeah,
and they're looking for a way to build their database, get new leads, without having to do a bunch of cold calls, face endless rejection, or spend a bunch of money.
right.
And I think you have a wonderful strategy to do it. So everyone here wants to know, okay, I'm ready to execute. Can you walk me through exactly how to do this, how to put the dominoes in order to make this happen? And then you invited me on because once that handoff is complete,
Yeah,
you just take the retiring agents database and bring them over and put them under Vyral Marketing,
yeah.
get that leverage. So the floor is yours, my friend.
I think, Frank, the more you and I talk about this, the easier it gets for people. So thanks for having me on again and doing this. The two big hurdles I see in executing a handoff. The number one thing is a lot of people here that are looking to buy a business have anxiety about calling and asking a retiring agent to take a meeting with them about potentially selling their business or partnering. And so I'm going to repeat some scripting that I use for that. The second big hurdle I hear all the time is people go, God, that's a great business idea, but I'm not doing the best job ever staying in touch with my own database. So what's going to happen if I add another 1,000 people to my mess? And that's where you come in, is we
Beautiful.
don't we don't have to have a mess. You just, at that scale, once you get past 100 people, now you're scaling up to beyond what one person can do on their own with, a Rolodex, a spreadsheet, and a cell phone. And so you have to get intentional and you have to get systematic and you have to get support and leverage and specialize. So for everyone that's thinking of implementing this and wants to do it, and I see this over and over again, that first hurdle, number one, if you approach someone respectfully about what their plans are when they're done selling, they're going to be happy to talk to you about it, because most realtors have no plan of what they're going to do when they retire. Their plan is, I'm going to slow down and then one day I'll just stop. And in that process, they lose contact with their clients, their business, their database gets less and less valuable, and they miss out on the opportunity to partner with someone. The second edition of the Golden Handoff, the reason why I went back and redid it is because of something called a partial handoff. Now, if you're okay talking to people and asking for the meeting and having a list of agents whose businesses you want to buy, the second hurdle I had after I would start those conversations was agents would say, gosh, this sounds great, but I'm not ready to retire yet. I want to keep doing this for another year or 2 years or 5 years. And the partial handoff gives you a way to partner with those people before they're 100% done. And that's super valuable for both of you, because you connect with those clients from the retiring agent and put them into a consistent marketing program that you're helping with, so that the emails are going out on time and the videos are going out on time and the market updates are going out on time. And you focus on the clients and you connect before those clients have already left because they haven't heard from their retiring agent in 5 years because they're slowing down. And for those retiring agents, and I use that broadly, but if you've been thinking of slowing down, or you want to relocate, or you want to snowbird, or you only want to do listings, you don't want to work with buyers anymore, or you only want to work in a certain price point, a partial handoff allows you to do that and to focus on what you want to do in the late stages of your career when you're at your apex of knowledge and skill, but maybe not as much energy, and then partner with an adopting agent to connect with all those people in the database that you aren't going to call anyway. And so part of it is the marketing campaigns, which Vyral's doing, but part of it is the phone calls and the conversations and the appointments. And the goal is to try to focus on the people that want to have the appointment and want to meet with you and need your advice and help and services. So the first hurdle is calling the retiring agents. So I want everyone on this call to write down the names of 5 agents whose businesses you would love to own. And here's a secret, whether you think they're retiring or not, when I did this, I was shocked at how many people I thought were super gung-ho to keep going for a long time who were looking for the exit. I was shocked. The script you use when you call these people, it kind of depends on how much relationship you have, is Frank, you've had this amazing career. I really admire you and everything you've done over the last 10, 20, 30 years. And I'm curious what your plans are with your business when you're done selling. Now, that'll let you know whether or not they have a plan or what they're thinking about. The second stage is this someone who is already kind of burned out or 1 foot out the door and they're looking for that exit and you just need to provide that solution, which the golden handoff is that process of connecting with the agent, doing the announcement letter, the emails, the videos, and then you put those adopted clients into your universe, into your database, and you just treat them like your own clients. It's really that simple. And so your marketing plan is the piece where Frank can help with the marketing plan and Vyral can help with that piece. You and your team can do the phone calls, the meetings, the appointments, the listings, the buyer consultations, all the work that realtors do. So once you've established whether they're looking to do something, retire sooner versus later, you'll know whether you're going to do a traditional handoff where you basically have a couple meetings, you go over the database, you understand who their clients are, you do everything you can with the resources, time, technology to make sure that data is as clean as possible so that you have phone numbers, emails, names, addresses of all the clients. Hopefully you have some notes on who they are and what they're going to do next. But if that agent isn't ready to retire completely, now this is a way to grow your business not only through clients, but add these retiring agents as partial agents to help do some of the work with the people they want, but then partner with you to work with all of those clients who they don't really want to engage with anymore. It creates a lot more value for both of you to do it before you've lost touch with those clients. So that's the script you use to connect and see what their plan is and set that appointment. Once you start talking to them, you want to decide, is this someone who wants to retire right away, which is a traditional kind of version 1 handoff, or is this someone that is thinking they want to keep working on some clients or some property types or some part of the year, and then that's a partial handoff and you kind of go version 2. The big difference between those two is in a traditional handoff, once that handoff's done, the adopting agent really is in charge 100% of everything, right? You're sending out the letters, the marketing pieces, you're doing the calls, you're doing all the appointments. In a partial handoff, that agent is working either with some clients or on part of the business or for part of the year with you and your team as a new addition. And then your team is basically wrapping their arms around the marketing and client touches for all of, say, like the non-A clients, or if they only want to do listings, you're working with all the buyers. So that's kind of the two things I see as like the hurdles that people struggle with, because I think people get the value. Again, I like to remind people this is not a theoretical book. I wrote it after I bought 6 businesses and went from 200 clients to 2,000 clients and grew my team from 2 people to 14 people with this program. I mean, it works incredibly well. Where I see people struggle is making that first call.
Well, it's all right. Let's go deeper. Let
Yeah,
me see if I can ask you some questions and be the audience advocate to get the detail of everything you just shared.
sure.
So the first thing you shared was you got to make a list of some agents that
Yeah.
you got to go say hi to. Can you give me more detail of in your experience, kind of the general criteria of someone that would be open to a partial handoff or a full handoff? And besides an existing relationship, what else is the factors of that?
Yeah. So number one place to start is with your brokerage, with the people that again, in a more traditional sense, people were going to the office. And so you would have you would know who was at your brokerage, and your broker would know who was looking to relocate. You would, um, They would know who's slowing down, who's going to retire in a year. Because agents don't want to broadcast that to the market or even their own office. But the broker, manager, different states call different things, principal, that's the person that's going to know kind of who is maybe moving across the country, slowing down, or wants to get out. The second place is just agents you co-op with. And if you're involved in your local board, or NAR chapter, those are all places to connect and network with people. And again, it's not a hard sales thing. It's just, what is your plan when you're done selling? Not, do you want to sell your business to me today? Right. So that it's a much softer ask.
What a great question.
Yeah.
Okay. So you start in your brokerage, people that you likely know,
Yep.
agents that were on the other side of the transaction.
Yep.
Just a couple questions. Um, is there a length of time someone's in business? Is there any other triggering things that would look for? Maybe a recent decrease in production, or in reality, that theoretically sounds good, but it just isn't the case in your experience?
It isn't. Some of the best relationships did not come from old agents who were slowing down. Um, One of the best partnerships we had was with an agent who was relocating temporarily. And we were the same age. We're both in our early 30s at the time. We were both growing our businesses, and he had an opportunity to pursue a different passion for a little while. He's in the book. Um, David Belmont is the name I use. It's not his real name, but he's a real broker, and he actually has gone on to create a huge team. But for 2 years, we managed his business while he was working on a movie, and
Cool.
it worked incredibly well. And the other avatars were people that were getting out of the business. One of them was, and she was in her 40s. She started a family late, had a second kid, and wanted to have more time to spend with her kids. So she went back to a more of a corporate job with normal hours and weekends off and no one calling you at night. And we took over her business. That went incredibly well. She was still in town, so we got a lot of referrals as well, which was helpful. I think you can absolutely look at people whose production has been waning over a couple years. So if you've got someone that has been doing 30 million in sales for 10 years in a row, and then the last couple years it went from 30 to 20 to 10, that's someone who's probably phasing out. And I would absolutely want to talk to that person. So you can use production analysis tools. I think Corded, Broker Metrics, there's a couple out there. You might not have access to those as an agent, but your broker might. So see if they have those tools that you could maybe get a list from them. And within the own brokerage, I mean, they have production reports on every agent over time. And so seeing who within your own brokerage has been slowing down, or depending on where you live, I was in Portland, Oregon. A lot of agents are kind of snowbird once they get to a point where they can have the freedom and the finances to be able to do that. So they'll go down to Scottsdale, or they'll go to Palm Springs, or they'll go to Florida or Mexico in the winter, because the winters are pretty tough. And that's another great opportunity to work with someone while they're gone and handle their business.
So what I'm learning from your answer is it's not just maybe a stereotype of, I've been in business for 40 years and time to fade into the sunset. Just anything. I just don't have the time or want to do it. And I got some other life situation.
Yeah, I always joke that don't go all chase down the oldest person in the room, and attack them, because sometimes, I've had a couple of people whose businesses I tried to buy, but they're literally still selling. And I stopped asking them 15 years ago, when they were already in their late 60s, early 70s. And so some people want to do it forever. That's great if it's your passion, but there can be a great opportunity with someone who's relocating. I mean, how many people during COVID, Frank, moved to a new market?
So many.
I
Yeah.
moved to a new market. You moved to a new market. I
Hmm.
mean, we could, every time I think you and I talk, it's like, oh, this person was in San Diego, but now they're here, or they were in Phoenix, but now they're in Idaho, or they're in Montana, or I know a ton of people. Um, I had two agents that I worked with that were fantastic that both moved to Bend.
So what we're learning here from Nick's answer is you just got to go ask the question. So let's do a little script practice, shall we?
Yeah,
Nick,
love
it's
it.
me and you working in the office. You know, I'm in the office, you're in the office, I'm doing my thing. You stop by my door. Go, Nick. Open me up for the conversation.
Yeah. Hey, Frank, how you doing, man?
What's up, Nick? I'm tired.
Yeah, it's crazy. I signed up for this webinar today and I was learning about this thing called the golden handoff and it made me think about what am I going to do when I want to retire if I want to move. I've got all these clients that we've got great relationships with and it kind of gave me a way to do that. I'm kind of curious, like, have you ever thought about what you do if you decided to move across the country or you wanted to change careers or just hang it up?
No, I'm just kind of doing my thing. This is the best option I have for making money right now. And I joined the revenue share brokerage to hopefully have an answer to that, but hasn't really panned out as I expected. And every time I tried to build a team to go down that path, it didn't quite work out the way that I wanted it to.
Yeah.
But just selling homes, man.
I mean, you've had a really good career. I mean, what would it look like if you just got to work on the properties you wanted with the people you love when you wanted to do it? Would that be something that would be more enticing to you than trying to do recruiting for the brokerage and just focus
That's
on
kind of
that?
where it seems like it's fallen back to is I just keep working with the close people in my sphere where the profitability is.
Yeah. What would it look like if we partnered and, I took my team's resources and we hired a marketing company like Vyral to really get consistent with our outreach and you could keep working with whoever you wanted, but we could have the team help anyone that, wasn't really a good fit or outside of where you wanted to drive to or price point. Because I know you've got all these great people, but maybe not all of them are folks you want to work with now or you haven't stayed in touch. And, I think we could re-engage with them. And if we work together on it, really capture a lot more and help you make more money. Would that be interesting?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really in the position, do I want to take the risk on marketing? And I know I can't make all the calls. I'm in the
Yeah.
middle of transactions. So you want to do all the marketing and you want to make the calls to the people I can't get to?
Yeah, we're gonna just wrap you into our system. We're gonna make sure that all your clients are hearing from you. We'll help do all of the scheduling, the marketing, the videos. You can keep working with whoever you want. You can utilize our team's transaction coordinator and marketing people for any of your properties you're working on. And then, anything you don't want to do, or if you want to leave town, we can cover you and take care of it and pay you referral fees on anything in the database that, comes up that the team helps. And you can, work as much or as little as you want. I don't think there's any downside, right?
I mean, if I were to do something like that, because I still got to make a living, I have a list of 150 people in my close sphere. I definitely want to do those deals myself.
Yeah.
And then if anybody calls into like my main line that magically, calls me, I don't necessarily want to pay a referral fee on that, but I got so much more that if you want to take all that over, I mean, sure. I mean, what's the economic structure of this, Nick? How do you make money at all this? This is an
Yeah.
interesting offer.
So
How much money is this?
So basically what we'll do is as long as we're working together, we'll pay you a 25% referral fee on anything from the database that we handle. And then if we're going to work together and partner on that, then you would essentially pay a referral fee into the team to cover marketing and operations and support um, on the deals that you close yourself. So it kind of ends up looking like you get to keep doing your own thing with your own people. We're going to do a better job connecting with them. It should increase your number of clients you work with per year dramatically. So that's how we set up the system so that we can keep doing the marketing and support to make your life easier, and then you get extra income on all the deals we do from the database that you weren't going to connect with anyhow. I get it when you're solo and you're doing your deals, there's not a lot of free time to do the prospecting.
So you want to reach out to my relationships in my database using my name. How do you plan on doing that, Nick?
Yeah, so there's an announcement letter that we're going to send out. We're going to send it out in the mail, and we're going to send it out from your email. You're going to obviously look at it and confirm it says exactly what you want. You can edit it however you like. It's going to explain we're working together. We're going to do some videos together. We're going to email that out. We're going to put it on social media just so everyone in your world is aware that we're working together, so that when my team calls, they know that we're partners. And we'll mention that whenever we call someone. The first thing we say is that the script when we call your people is hey, this is Nick. I work with your agent Frank, and I promised him I'd call you and ask if you had any real estate questions or needs we could help with. And again, that's a very warm call. And so we're just going to try to reconnect with as many people as possible and maintain those relationships and really try to increase the engagement of your client list with you.
No money up front for me. I don't have to write you a check to doing this, Nick, right now.
Nope.
You're just gonna go do all this. I just keep doing what I'm doing.
We're going to sign an agreement that kind of a mutual referral agreement, and we're going to lay out exactly the marketing plan of exactly what we're going to do. It's part of the contract of how many calls, emails, letters, events, classes, webinars that we're going to handle. And then you just have to let me know how involved you want to be. And if at some point you decide, man, I am really loving getting these referral fees and I am really not loving doing this job myself anymore, we can just take over more of it whenever you're ready. And if you want to keep doing business with your 150 people, we'll help support that. And um, would love to make this a win-win.
What's the downside of this, Nick? How does this go wrong and how do we end up hating each other?
This deal falls apart if either you find out that the retiring agent didn't really have good relationships with their clients, and so their endorsement has less value than you expected. If the information in the database is mostly incorrect, so you're calling people and getting the wrong number or emails are bouncing. So the more work you can do up front to clean that up, the better. And on the other side of the equation, if the adopting agent does not execute on that marketing plan, it doesn't work. And that's the same for you. If Frank, if you don't stay in touch with your people, it's not going to work for you either. And that's why Vyral exists, is to take that over and manage it and make sure it's consistent for these agents who have all the best intentions, but then you get 4 deals pending and 2 new listings and your kid gets sick and all of a sudden the newsletter didn't go out this month or next month. And now you feel guilty. So now you need to catch up.
Hmm.
And a lot of times when people feel like they're behind, instead of trying to catch up and just reset, they kind of get deeper into the hole. I mean, I see it all the time. Same thing when, it's the same thing when someone tries to like start, working out and, New Year's Eve comes and everyone
Oh
starts
yeah.
going to the gym. Well, I can't remember. You probably know this. Isn't there like actually a day called Quitter's Day? It's like
I'm
when
sure. Yeah, January 2nd.
I
Yeah.
think it's a little further out than that, but if someone should look this up. I know it exists. But yeah, it's like a couple weeks later. It might be like a month
Yeah.
later. Most people, you're going to go every day and then you go 3 days a week and then you
Well,
miss a week and you just don't reset.
let me say something from a viral standpoint that hits is, we take responsibility. We take full responsibility that the database marketing goes out.
Yeah.
From holding you accountable to the idea creation to everything else. And I think that's a good pitch. I'm going to take full responsibility for your database to get business out of it.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's really that, again, like I said, the reason I'm so excited about the second edition of the book and the partial handoff is because the best handoff we had was with an agent who was still going full speed ahead, right? So his database was updated and clean and everyone had been talked to recently. And so when we took over, the engagement level was just sky high. I mean, it worked really, really well. And the longer an agent is kind of not executing on that, the longer they haven't really done the calls or the emails or the newsletters. Um, the second Friday in January. Okay, yeah, 2 weeks. Um, so um, the less valuable the database is because those relationships, that endorsement has less value. It'd be like if you had 20 best friends in college. Well, 10 years later, odds are you haven't stayed in touch with all 20 people. So you might have a couple relationships that are really strong, but you might have 10 or 12 or 13 of those people that maybe you haven't even talked to in a year and you don't know what's going on in their lives because it's tough to do that. You have to be systematic, you have to have a schedule. That's where a CRM comes in to remind you who to call when and to not call one person 10 times a year and 20 people 0 times. So I think, like I said, those are the downsides on kind of the two sides where I've seen frustration. And it happened to me where I took over a business that half of it was a door knocking farm.
mm, yeah,
And we don't do door knocking and I'm not going to add it.
there's
So,
no
okay,
relationship there.
yeah. And like I had phone numbers, but then they didn't know who the retiring agent was. So, right, the endorsement is worth less versus the other half of the database who had actually worked with that agent responded much better. So I get the question, well, what do you do then? Well, I think you can still do a handoff, but maybe you automate more with the lead category, and then you are more hands-on and do the phone calls and the more time-intensive stuff with the A list part of the client list. So
You
you, I
know,
mean, you can do it. It just you can't love everyone the same way.
I'm sitting here thinking I think I have the greatest goals and handoff list ever. It'd be all of the past clients of Vyral Marketing
Yeah,
that were doing this and making videos and saying this stuff out, but something in life came up.
absolutely,
And then, hey, I'm gonna pick that up again and I'll cover the cost and do a referral fee.
absolutely, yeah, 100%.
That's a good list.
It's a great list.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have an agent who was at a higher level, they're
Mm-hmm.
hiring other people to engage. They're not winging it and doing 3 or 4 deals a year. They're probably doing 20, 30 deals a year. And you you already have the relationship. So to reconnect with them and then play matchmaker, and you know how to take over the marketing piece, that'd be awesome. I joke that, when I present this, hey, if there's an agent that had all the bus stop signs, the bus benches advertising, all of a sudden the name changes, you might want to call the guy that just stopped paying the bill for the bus bench advertising, because
Yeah,
they're
there's a
trying to
lot of
cut
truth to that.
costs. They're slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So,
So I'm gonna put something into chat that I think can help us all real quickly here.
okay.
So here's what I would want. So Nick, if I was going to go to you and
Yeah.
approach you in my office to bring up what are your plans beyond selling real estate, that's what I would want. I want to have on my desk a copy of your book to give them.
Yep.
I would want to have an example referral agreement, which is in your book,
Yep.
of what does the referral fee phased out look like over time.
Yeah.
Then ultimately, after you hold back the people you want retiring agent for yourself or the partial handoff, this is the introductory letter I want you to send out to your list from me. Yes, not right now, kids. I'm in the middle of a webinar. You can hear in a little bit, but that has to finish up. Kids are home. All right. I love you guys, but you guys have to leave the room a little bit, okay? All right.
That's proof that they love you a lot. They just don't want to
They
leave. They're like,
they love me.
got to be close.
So here's the deal. You have the example referral agreement, which you have. You have the announcement email that goes out, and then the first call script to retire agents list.
Yeah.
Let me go handle this. Why don't you take it from here, Nick?
All right. You got it. Um, I actually got to meet Frank's kids a week ago down in a mastermind in San Diego. So they're good kids, but they're obviously. Um, so in the book, you've got a copy of a template contract. Have your attorney look at it, make sure it fits for your situation. There's also a whole chapter in the book about the contract, which kind of goes over a lot of the what ifs. I just like to recommend, if you have any what ifs, write it down and make sure you both agree. Don't assume anything. Anything you can think of that may or may not be a problem, just write it down and have a discussion and make sure it's covered in your contract. Um, the announcement letter email is the same thing. It just comes out, one's in the mail, one goes into your email. Now you can add video and do a lot more with that. So what I do, I actually sold my residential business a couple years ago, and I try to do videos with my adopting team a couple times a year. And so some of those are kind of like evergreen emails, like, hey, it's fall, there's a bunch of stuff to do before it rains every day in Portland. And then some of them are market reviews where we'll talk about what's going on in the market as a way to keep our clients educated and answer questions. That first call script's in there. I worked on this a bunch to get it as short and simple as possible. And that call script is based on the fact that these adopted clients have gotten an email, a letter, they've seen social media. Maybe you're retargeting them, you've done some videos. And so when you're calling, they should know who you are and what's going on.
And Nick, if I can interrupt,
Yeah.
what's the big message? I'm like, it's probably not I'm retiring. Here's Nick. Give me the big theme of that communication. What's the big idea behind the announcement?
Well, it could be if that's what they're doing. So in the first edition of the book, and it's in the second as well, is I want to know how involved that retiring agent wants to be. Like, they need to choose how involved they're going to be so I can work with that. So if they want to be very minimally involved, if they're barely able to put in the time and energy to put the database together to do this deal with me, and then they're going to drive to Florida and throw their phone in the ocean, then it could very well say, "This is Susie. I'm going to be retiring at the end of the year. I wanted to make sure you had a great agent to help you. I really appreciate all your support over the last 30 years of this amazing career. I've chosen to work with Nick because he's been doing this 20 years. He's in my office. He's a great guy. He sells 200 homes a year. He's got a wonderful team, and he really takes care of his people. And so he's going to be following up and calling you. You're going to be getting, emails about the market and invited to classes and events. And, thank you for everything. Here's everyone, here's Nick's information. Now, keep in mind that, Frank, that letter comes from the retiring agent on
Yeah,
their
correct.
letterhead, right? That's
Oh yeah.
really, really
I mean,
critical. So,
Nick, we get these all the time. I get it from my dentist when their hand is
yep.
off. I get it from my insurance guy. It seems like every two years, of like there's like a new person that's in charge, and I want to hand it over.
I think I'm on my seventh doctor in 18
Yeah.
years in Portland. They keep retiring or changing
Yeah.
or moving. Like, three retired, one moved to Seattle, another one changed companies, it's all the time. And so it's just funny that we don't commonly do this in real estate. It's becoming more common. This book's been out 10 years, but still, I mean, even for as many books as I've sold, which is a lot, it isn't everyone. Not everyone in real estate has read this. So, um,
I think the big thing, Nick, is if you could speak to the skill. I mean, you have a B2B background. So you have a B2C, you know, working with consumers for listings and buyers, but then going to your peers, going to your competitors, and doing this requires a level of maybe more of a complex B2B sale. Can you speak to that a little bit of why it's been difficult for someone to go down this path and do this? Maybe
I mean, I think
emotionally?
the reason, I think honestly, the reason why it hasn't been adopted more, no pun intended, is the retiring agents don't realize that there's a way to monetize this that isn't super complicated, that is pretty straightforward. It's a referral agreement. I mean, everyone in real estate has done that. If they've
Hmm.
had been in the business at least a year, they've either received or sent a referral to someone. It's the same process. It's just for more people. And
Hang on,
I
Nick.
think on the other side, the adopting agents, a lot of times the headache is they are worried about, well, I'm already struggling to keep up with my own client list. What's going to happen if I double it? And I've had that be an issue for a lot of people, in people in leadership, people that own brokerages, where they just get overwhelmed with the opportunity because they aren't good at delegating out the work. And that's where, if you don't have a team, then partnering with a marketing company to help take that off your plate for yourself and for your your new adopted clients too. So basically you can increase your client list without increasing your workload on the work side, but increase your opportunities 2 or 3x. And if you are literally in a situation where you're a solo agent and you are leveraged out and you really don't have the time to do more business, and then you're not in a growth mode, because you either need to start building a team or you need to just make peace with the fact that you've built your business to the place you want it, and
Yeah.
and it's going to stay there. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's some incredibly productive, profitable agents who aren't trying to build a big team or run a brokerage and are focused on um, just running a really tight, well-run, small client list based business. There's nothing wrong with that. I have some good friends that's their whole focus, and um, but that wouldn't be. This is you're on the wrong call then, because this is about growing, and it's about
Yeah.
growing exponentially, really.
I
Um,
wanna, if it's okay,
yeah,
my brain's like, this is a good point to insert this. I want to, for those of you that are viral clients, you'll be familiar with this. If you're not, let me just show you. Here's our website, but more specifically, don't click that. I want you to click the examples. So here's just a good visual when you are doing a good job of maintaining a relationship with your database beyond just phone calls. Let's take a look at, you working your own list before you go bring someone else's into your system. So let me see if I can just play the share button on here. Here we go. So here are some examples. This is you sending out videos communicating with your database so people know who you are. I mean, Nick, you would love to take over any of these agents' businesses because when you call their list and you use their name, they're gonna go, "Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure." So you
The
can click any of
higher,
those.
this is great. The higher the repeating referral percent of the business for the retirement agent and the better job they've done staying engaged with their clients. Oh, this is amazing.
Wouldn't you love to call his list?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so there's hundreds of these, and you can see a lot of different examples of people staying in touch with their database to keep that relationship alive. Here's an example of Nick here, which, which kind of begs the question, after you're staying in touch with your list to get business, and that there's a limit of that because it's your list. How do you grow it? Frank, how do I grow my database?
Right.
Well, the typical answers are, well, just start prospecting, start advertising, start buying pay-per-click leads. All fine answers.
Yeah.
You
Do a
just have
bunch
it.
of open houses, door
Yeah, open
knock.
houses. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have an answer that's not common, which is this. And for any viral clients here, once you're doing this, I mean, all you have to do is just go to the retiring agent saying, you see the viral video blog that I have? You see what I'm doing? Let's do it with your people. Bring them over to me. I have
Yeah.
the
Let's work
energy.
on
I
this
have the
together.
ambition. Let's do it together.
Yeah.
Introduce me, send something out, and I'll put them on my marketing. I'll track those people and pay a referral fee. And what a wonderful way to build your list at no cost with high level people to put them on the viral system. That's why I'm here. I wanted to show people that.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. I think, you know, the better you can stay connected with your clients, the better for everyone, right? And
Mhm.
it is tricky to have high quality content, information, communication. Because, you know, a lot of people that you help them buy a house and they have a house and now they, you know, they don't really need to talk to you that much. They're good. They're going to stay there for 15 years. But they've got friends and neighbors and they might have a referral they need, you know, for painting and roofing every once in a while, or, you know, they got to need a new furnace and who should we hire? You want to be kind of the hub of their real estate world and finding ways to stay engaged and talk to them about all those different things. You know, there's certain conversations that are going to appeal more
Mhm.
to people that want to move, that want to, you know, buy or sell. And there's going to be conversations that are going to appeal more to people that are have a house, they're good, but you know, more about kind of the maintenance and basics of home ownership and maintenance over time.
So some questions for you as I think this through the execution. I could certainly see approaching agents in the brokerage, approaching agents on the other side of the transaction, give them a copy of the book, ask them what their plans are when they're retiring. They kind of like the idea probably of a partial handoff, which you alluded to earlier. A lot more people
Yeah.
interested in that, the full handoff. They go, great. I mean, how does this cost? How does this work? Well, here's the agreement. Here's the email I want you to send out, the letter I want you to send out to your database. And then here's kind of what it looks like to be announced that I'm handling it, where they
Yep.
get comfortable with it. Okay. And then they kind of sit down and they basically give you a spreadsheet, I'm guessing, of like, hey, here's all the people that are mine. Here's the first right of refusal on these people that I want
Yep.
all the commission on those. Here's everyone else, Frank. Here's a spreadsheet. I would import them into my CRM, probably tagging the lead source or tagging them as that person.
I do both. Yeah, I would source them and tag them
Source
as
them, tag them so you know. And just as I think through the detail of this, as the engineering of it, is I would give them a CRM seat inside my CRM. I would give you a CRM seat,
yeah.
but you would only see those contacts,
Yep.
right?
100%. That's if you can do that, that's awesome.
So the retiring agent can log in anytime and see the text message history, the call history, the email history, any leads that have converted on the deal pipeline to appointment set, thinking it over, closed. It's all tracked. I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest thing is like, what's the transparency I would get as a retiring agent when I hand you my list of my whole life I've worked for that I've kept a few off the table for myself. If you also give me the CRM seat and it's all tracked, I can see what's going on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, if you are going to buy a business from someone and do this, that retiring agent is the best client you've ever had in your life because they just gave you 300 referrals, right? Or 400 referrals or whatever their client list is. And so treat it like that. You don't need 100 agents to sell you their business. You need two or three, right? And so part of the job is engaging with the clients, but another part of the job is keeping that retiring agent updated as much as they like. Most people weekly at first and then monthly is plenty. Sometimes people just want to hear about when a deal's happening. But yeah, I can access the database for the team that's managing my client list of residential clients. Um, and I try to help and work with them. We do videos together so that when we're sending stuff out, it kind of reconnects me and the adopting agent for the clients. And I can see what they're working on, what's in the pipeline, who's having appointments. It's great. And I think it just at the end of the year, if you want, if you're the retiring agent, just, hey, I just want a list of every closing, address and name, and just make sure we didn't forget something. Now, here's a dirty secret. Um, by the time I bought my third database, we found out there were a handful of clients that were in all three.
That's common.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
They
so,
opted, they opted on 3 different websites. Yeah.
yeah, someone actually did a deal. Someone met him at an open house and someone door knocked him. And so we basically went, okay, well, whoever had the strongest relationship is going to get kind of credit for it. So if someone had just helped them buy the house, but they were on a bunch of websites as a, IDX opt-in or something, that obviously isn't the same thing.
Nick,
Um,
I have something I want to add
yeah,
that from a different perspective is insightful. As I've gotten to know you more and you've been to the events, you have a very temperament that is very detailed and process oriented to like have a discussion with one agent and go deep with one agent.
yeah,
And they hand you over what? 300 names, 200 names? I mean, how many names are we talking here sometimes? 300, 400? Like it's not like this huge list of thousands. And those late names are meticulously brought into your CRM, meticulously tracked,
yeah.
and meticulously communicated with precisely to honor the relationship handoff. That's rare because usually the temperament in the industry is kind of running around lots of different ways, kind of just putting a lot of out there what sticks to see what comes in from random sources.
Yeah.
Like you really have to flip that temperament to go like just really get very meticulous of every single record in detail in your CRM to pull this off.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's funny, I consult a lot of people that are implementing this, and they're like, well, I only have 4 people I've talked to about this. I'm like, that's plenty. We only need one yes, and you're going to be very busy. There's a lot of people to talk to with. If you bought one business, the odds of it being less than 150 names on that
it's
client list is pretty low. It's probably going to be that much or more. It's probably going to be around 300 if someone's been in the business a while, and it could be a
it's
thousand.
still that's still a low number relatively speaking when you're thinking of lead gen.
Well, it is, but Frank, I'm telling you, the reason why people don't do this, because there's literally no economic reason to not do this. The reason that agents choose not to do this is because they don't want to pick up the phone and have to call those people. That's really the hurdle that people have to get over. If you are willing to pick up the phone and call someone and say, hi, this is Nick. I promise your realtor, Frank, I'd call you and ask if you had any real estate questions or
Yeah,
needs I could help with. And you can do that a couple times a year. You are going to exponentially grow your business.
I would love to build a team doing this. Like, hey, are you a new agent just got licensed, kind of maybe, looking for a way to get leads? I went and established relationships with retiring agents and they have their contact information. And you could call that list and build a relationship with it through my name.
Yeah,
No, it's a thought.
it's a thought. No, it's a good thought. And here's a dirty secret
Because
about
it's a
this.
great lead source.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. Again, I think it's really important that we say this, but like you're not buying leads and you're not buying a list. You are adopting clients who are being endorsed to you, who are excited they don't have to go find a new agent and are highly, highly likely to just work with you if
Yeah,
you stay in touch.
the trust is there.
Yeah. And I, here's a dirty secret about selling your business. This is something that kind of blew my mind when I went to go sell my business. So I wrote down the names of 10 agents who I really knew and trusted and liked that I thought could do a great job. That would be a good fit. that worked primarily by referral, that were ethical, that ran a business. I knew they could execute their marketing plan and do the letters and emails and calls and do it consistently. Of that, 5 of them were all looking to retire themselves. A couple other people said, well, this is great, but we're having trouble keeping up, and I'm having trouble recruiting and bringing people onto my team to grow, and I don't want to add more people because we're already feel like we're not doing a good enough job today. So I had to like find a team to work with to buy that book of business, because I needed a group of people that were still hungry and ambitious, but had the experience to actually do a good job and have the confidence to win the business. And it was a tough fit to try to find someone that was willing to take on 800 new clients and do the marketing and do the calls, because it's not easy to be consistent with that. Um, it's like when I'll tell people that have like quote unquote real jobs in corporate America. It's like, yeah, I try to help agents, and I tell them like, look, if you can just talk to 10 people a day, you'll be a superstar. And they're like, wait, did you say 100? And I said, no, I said 10. If you can have 10 conversations a day, you'll be a superstar in real estate. And they just fall out of their chair. That number seems so low. But then you and I know I've talked to hundreds of agents who cannot do that, that will not do that. So that to me is like, that's the hurdle in this process, is having the courage to make the call to the retiring agent, and then having the discipline to execute the marketing plan or work with Vyral to do most of it so you can focus on just the calls. And if you can do that, it's a home run.
Cheryl asked a good question. Yes, it is buying the database because now you own those contacts, but it's a form of seller financing is probably the way to look at it.
Yeah, you call it an earn out. You could do a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Share with Cheryl that it really is buying someone's database,
Oh
but
yeah. I mean,
it truly is, but it's different terms, a different arrangement of financing the purchase.
yes. Yeah. No, they are assigning those clients to you. It is exclusive. Um, if they're fully retiring, they're not supposed to be working with those folks anymore. If it's a partial handoff, you need to say who's who. Um, and the way that you pay for it is on performance. So it's basically you're paying for it on referral fees. The adopting agent is absolutely spending money and time and energy paying for marketing, letters, events, whatever costs you have associated with your marketing plan. And they're spending a lot of their time and energy to call and maintain those relationships and really step in and take over where that retiring agent is stopping and leaving. So no, you're absolutely buying an exclusive relationship.
Yeah, you're buying the business and the compensation is through a referral fee. That way it's appropriately evaluated on actual closed commissions.
Yeah.
And if you go into your book, you have that agreement. Would you explain the referral fee phase out of the agreement, kind of how that works?
Yeah. So if someone's retiring completely, it's a 3-year deal, and it starts at 30% referral fee year 1, then 20 year 2, and 10% year 3, and then after that you own it outright. The difference is if a single client in that database buys and sells 4 times, you're paying a referral fee on each one of those, not just the first one. That's the big difference between a one-off referral fee and a golden handoff. If you're doing a partial handoff, I recommend just doing 25% both ways until they fully retire, and then you would start that 3-year phase out period. And then after the 3-year phase out period, the adopting agent owns it completely.
Do you
And yeah,
apologize? These questions come up I want to ask. I'm very
yeah,
curious.
no, ask.
Um, do you find like for a full handoff, the retiree agent changes their licensing status just to like straight referral at the brokerage because they still get a referral fee.
Yeah,
They're still
so
paying you a referral fee. So how does the brokerage relationship work? Because you can do this with any agent, any brokerage.
yep, yeah, it's totally brokerage agnostic. You don't have to be at the same place. Where that gets tricky is if someone wants to do co-marketing. So the partial handoff is a little tricky. You need to talk to your brokerage and make sure that they're okay working, that you guys are working together, but at separate brokerages. Some places are okay with it, some places aren't. If they're not, you just work at the same one. So one of you is going to move. I would usually just put people on my team because I could wipe out their desk fee and costs. Um, because I was already paying for that, so I didn't have to charge them for that, if that makes sense, when I had my own brokerage.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. So
When you have
that's,
your own brokerage doing this.
yeah, or if you have a team situation where you have kind of a flat fee for your team. I mean, there's so many different models out there. I can't imagine all the different ways you could do it. But also a referral network is what you're alluding to, is where you go to a status where you can't represent people and you can't buy and sell, but you can still get referral income. So yeah, I don't know if there's any state that allows you to receive a referral fee without being licensed. I just assume that you have to have a license to receive a referral fee. Again, it doesn't have to be the same state. So like, let's say you're in uh, Washington and you want to move to Florida and you're going to sell real estate in Florida. Well, you can get your referral income through your Florida license. You don't have to keep two of them. And if you're retiring, you don't need to set it up in a new state. You just keep doing the one you have and do your continuing ed and renewals. Most places it's every 2 years. Some places it's I think 4 years. I'm not aware of anywhere where it's every year. That would be a little bit more of a hassle. But if you're getting referral checks every month, it's not a big deal to do some continuing ed and pay a little couple $100 to renew your license. So yeah, that part of it is trickier if you're doing the partial handoff. So
Good
make sure if
questions,
you're going to be
guys.
co-listing or co-marketing and you want to stay at separate brokerages, that your brokerages are okay with that. I have done that. But I've also had scenarios where the brokerages didn't want to do it. They didn't want to have shared responsibility and risk. So that's when we would just put someone on the team. And again, that's not a huge deal if you're not redoing all of your marketing and branding at that stage.
It seems like the number one thing people would need to execute on this is this goal of I'm just going to approach one agent a day just to start the conversation. It's like setting up a separate CRM, putting in some agents you're going to talk to, and then like, I don't know, give someone a copy of the book and say, what are your thoughts? Read it, and then maybe we could talk later.
Yeah.
And just do one agent a day. My
And
gosh, that's 20 in a
share this,
month.
yeah, share a webinar. Like I said, Frank, like someone I talked to was like, I only have 3 people. I don't know if we have enough to start. I'm like, you only need one, and you're going to be so busy with new clients, you'll be overwhelmed. So don't think you need to start with buying 5 businesses all at once. I think starting with one and getting comfortable with the process and getting comfortable with the hurdles you have, and the questions and because everyone has different systems and teams and resources. Again, I made the process as simple as possible because honestly, the process is as simple as possible. So there is no, you don't need to learn how to code a website to do this. This is, you just go stay or being a realtor and talking to people. And as you scale up and it gets harder and harder, I mean, you're going to specialize. You're going to hire a viral to do your marketing. You're going to hire a website guy. You're going to build your team. If you want to scale up and do hundreds of deals a year, you're not going to be doing that on your own. Um, and so that's a different discussion. But Frank, if you could talk to one person a day and give them a copy of the
Oh my
book and share
goodness.
the webinar and
Fill it.
just put them in your CRM like it's someone you met at an open house, and you just staying in touch. And then as you do this, sharing that success. Hey, we just partnered with Joe Smith and they trusted us with 300 of their clients they'd worked with over the last 20 years. And we've closed 15 deals this year with their clients. And here's what Joe has to say about the decision to work with us and have us adopt their clients. I mean, now it's easy. So once I had my first business that I bought, people started to come to me because they had heard, oh, well, Renee's getting all these, Nick's working Renee's database and
Yeah,
she's
you're
getting a
paying
referral
people.
fee every month.
Yeah.
She's making good money. Nick is paying Renee's mortgage right now and better. People were excited to come talk to me. And if you're willing to put in that work, I mean, trust me, most agents aren't willing to put in that work. And if you are, you're going to earn that business. And if you can show results, you're going to be great.
want to give one more step to the process as I think through the detail of executing this. Maybe a different perspective from my perspective, but yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable that someone says, "Yeah, this is great. Let's do a partial handoff.
Yeah,
What's next?" I think the most logical next question is like, we got to sit down and build your list. Like, do
yeah,
you even have a list of your past clients? No. Do you have a list of your sphere? No. It's not like just ready to beautifully be exported from a CRM. It's almost like the next step is like, let's set aside a day to chill and let's build it. Kind of like name by name in many respects of
yeah.
would
And there's
these
some really
people
great,
know you if I called them?
yeah, there's some really great tools that will take your contacts out of your phone and out of your email and build a kind of master list. And then you can then kind of very quickly sort through it. And I would just say this, like, if you have to do that, just focus on like your top 100. Focus on your A list. Do that first, because that's going to be 90% of your reward out of this anyway.
Yeah,
And if you have
right.
time to work through the rest of it, great. But if you can just get to who knows me, loves me, trusts me the most, and if I refer them to Frank or Nick, they're going to likely work with them, and they're going to want to like hear from them, and they're going to be happy that I thought of
It
them.
would be helping them sitting down and building 100 names
Yeah.
that they sign off on everyone. Like, yep, they're gonna know you, they're gonna know you, they're gonna know you. And it grounds them like the gravity of who they're handing over.
Yeah.
And then you can start with the intro. I think there's definitely a stage of sitting down and helping them build that list of 100 people.
Yeah, and I talk about that in the book. I used to have a chapter about different tools and resources, but the technology stuff changes so often, and books don't change that often. So I took it out. I think, I mentioned that there are systems and tools that will do that, and just try to find what's the best version right now. Um, I saw some good questions over here I wanted to hit, because these are things I hear a lot. One is from Ryan, have people ever been offended when you approach them? If you approach them without respect, then maybe they'll get offended. But if you use the scripting I'm giving you, I highly doubt that that's the case. I will tell you that's the reason why most people don't ask, is because they're worried that the agent's going to feel like you think they're old or can't keep up with technology or aren't good enough to hack it anymore. Now, again, if you approach someone respectfully and say, I really admire the business you run and the career you've had, and I'm curious what your plans are when you're done selling. It's really specific that I say when you're done selling, because most people think of selling as a bad thing, but they think of being a realtor doing real estate as like a good thing. Um, and so if you phrase it like that, it's not like you're saying, what are you going to do when you're not good enough to sell real estate anymore? If you approach people like that, yes, they'll be offended. So you have to approach people respectfully. Their scripting is in the book, and we're talking about it, as a way to do that. Um, most of those agents probably are looking to get out of the business. They probably feel guilty that they're not really marketing to their client list and staying in touch with their people that gave them a career. um, Another question from Matt was, how often do you get pushback on the 3-year phase out plan? Honestly, hardly at all. Because you're giving someone free money. Those agents aren't going to monetize the database. They're going to just walk away. No one's beating down their door to buy it. We were just in a mastermind in San Diego, Frank and me and about 20 other top agents from all over the country. And I asked some of the older agents, I think there's a couple folks there that were in their 70s, how many times have you been approached about someone wanting to buy your business? And the answer was once or zero. It isn't, it isn't once a month. It isn't every week. It was almost zero. And the top 1% of agents are thinking about the business value of their database, but 99% of the agents are not thinking about it and are not planning to do anything with it. And so if you can show up like a white knight and say, I'm going to save you and I'm going to let you retire 2 years early and I'll take over all this and send you checks or wire you money or drop money magically into your bank account as often as I can, they're going to be pretty happy. And the 3-year thing, I kind of came up with that as basically I figured people would want to renew their license one time. And if they're not contributing, I think 3 years is plenty of time.
I agree.
If they're contributing, then like I said, I recommend doing just a normal 25% referral fee, as long as they're engaged, helping do lead gen, helping do marketing, potentially helping work with the team on active business. Um, what I found in the new edition, there's a bunch of interviews, and it was really, really interesting. Of all the people I interviewed about partial handoffs, one of the really consistent themes was that once someone chooses to do a partial handoff as a retiring agent, they move to retirement much faster than they thought that they would. They just wanted to make sure it was going to work, and they wanted to make sure the adopting agent was going to do a good job, and that the clients would like them, and that they could close business. And once they see evidence of that, they're much more comfortable to hand over the rest of it and really phase out completely. Um, but I wish I had figured this out sooner, because it would have solved my growth problem, because I had to stop buying businesses because I didn't have enough agents to serve them. So once we got to 2,000 clients, I said, I don't think we can really keep doing this if we're going to call everyone twice a year. But if those retiring agents had joined my team and helped do some of that work, we could have scaled much, much bigger, and we could have done it for a lot longer. And so there's a huge benefit in that. Whether they work together for a couple months or a couple years is really up to you and the other agent on how much they want to do.
Good job, Nick. What's next for everyone?
Well, I think we talked about implementing this for, I think most people on this call are probably thinking about growing their business. Write down the names of 5 agents whose businesses you'd love to buy. Don't worry about whether you think they're old, or whether you think they want to retire, or whether you think they want to move. Give them a copy of the book. Ask them, um, what their plans are. Start the conversation. I think you'll be amazed if you approach people respectfully, how they are looking for an exit and they don't know what to do. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, I'd love to retire, but people keep calling me and I don't know what to do. It's like I'm trying to get out of here, but people keep referring me people, so I just keep doing it. And you can provide that solution. Someone had asked about bulk. I do on the Golden Handoff. If you look at the bulk section, we can work out stuff on that will make it more affordable for you. So just do that, or email me, nick@goldenhandoff.com. And I think my contact info is on the website as well. It's
Mhm.
probably why I get so many spam calls.
We'll send it out. Send you all my details, everyone. We'll send out the recording. And I think without question, Nick, if someone came to us and said, "Hey, I read your book, want some detail on how to go execute this," you deliver, my friend. Good job.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Frank.
Good job.
Excellent.
All
Thanks
right,
everyone for
everyone.
joining.
We're all out of here. I appreciate you all. Thanks for coming. See you guys.